masters of duct tape, cardboard, and hot glue, making cosplay out of everyday materials. They are the DIY Costume Squad.
Hey there, welcome back to DIY Costume Squad. I'm Dustin, and joining me again is Tali.
Hi.
Thanks so much for coming back for another costume adventure.
Thank you for having me back.
So what are you going to be making for us today?
Today I'm going to be making Link from the Legend of Zelda. Classic character, classic game.
There's a twist.
There is a twist. I am not a male.
What? Hot off the press.
Hot off the press is it. You heard it here first. I am a girl.
But this is fun because you'll be able to actually adapt the classic costume and kind of change it a little bit, modify it the way you want.
We always have a green tunic. The classic Link look. I'm gonna be dropping the neckline a little bit just to be like more of a sexy Link, more lady Link like.
It kind of looks like a skirt to begin with.
Definitely. This is a great female costume. I'd love to include some of this chainmail. I feel like that's a really cool element.
I have some DIY ideas on that chainmail too. Are you going to try and tackle his classic shield or sword?
Yes. I think that is imperative.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with. Let me know if you need some DIY assistance as you go.
I'm definitely going to.
But I'll get out of your hair. And,
awesome.
Good luck.
All right. I think the first thing to focus on would be the tunic because that is a major part of the costume. So first off, we have our tunic. This costs $5. Don't think you're gonna find something so perfect. I really looked out and found the exact collar that I needed. I found this similar in fabric shirt, which I'll be using to create a little skirt. First thing we're gonna do is cut up our shirt so that we can attach it to the bottom of our tunic. But first, I have to cut it right at my waist so it sits properly. So I'm just gonna cut into this fabric here and make two separate pieces of white to glue onto the bottom of the shirt. So we're done with this shirt for now. And now I'm gonna take my white fabric and I'm going to glue it to the bottom of my shirt. So next I'll be cutting the sleeves. So that's the basic shape of our tunic, so let's move on to making our hood. To make my hood, I'm going to be using the arms of this leftover white shirt. All I'm going to do is cut off my arms, put them together. So I'm going to glue one seam shut, and then I'm going to measure my head with it.
Cool, how's the nun costume coming out? Oh yeah.
I changed my idea. You know, sometimes you just want to change your costume halfway through making it. Now I'm going to glue this into a cone. So when I turn this inside out, it should be a cone hat. And I have myself a little elf hat. So I'm finished with my hat, and now I'm going to move on to some of the details on the tunic. Using this scrap lacing that Dustin had lying around, I'm going to weave it into my collar and to the side of my shirt. I'm going to start my lacing down here and weave each section up the collar. So technically you could use grommets for this and it would look very professional, but we're not going to do that today. So I think I finished my lacing for my neckline. So now let's go ahead and do the lacing on the sides. I'm done my tunic, I'm done my hat, time to go paint them. I'm going to use this green that was $4. All right, it's ready to go. So my tunic is all finished and I think it looks great, except for it's missing something very important. He has chainmail at the top and the bottom of his tunic. I would love to have that because I think that it would add a lot of detail. Unfortunately, I haven't figured it out yet, but I think that Dustin might have some idea for me.
I've been thinking about this. I might have the perfect DIY solution. These are 1-inch book rings. They're little circle clips that kind of open and close.
Cool.
These were $9 for 100.
That's a lot of rings.
I don't know if this is gonna work the way I'm imagining, but they do hook together pretty well.
Okay.
So check it out. You can connect them together. So
oh, cool.
In theory, we can just connect a whole bunch of them. So you might be able to then attach a whole row Might just turn into a big tangled mess too.
It might.
That's totally too funky.
It's like
a little random.
Working, but it's like not quite there.
I think we've come up with a plan. This is a little complicated, but rather than interlocking them entirely, I think we're going to use a combination of tape and glue and just create a single shape that we can glue right into the edge. There, look at that.
Glue.
We got them to stay in place for a change.
Cool. I love it.
Now we got to make 500 more of them. No, not really.
Okay.
Just for the bottom.
I think the Ford assembly line would be very proud of us. That looks dope.
Let's do another.
All right, we got our 2 trims. Ooh,
Yes.
Look at that. Pretty cool.
Well, my work here is done.
My tunic is done, so now it is time to move on to my arms. I found these space bracers, which were $1. I found these gloves, which are also $1. This belt, which was $1. And this shirt, which will make our sleeves, for $4. I'll be cutting these gloves into fingerless gloves. Pretty cool. So let's cut these straps. Now our belt should be able to feed right through. There we go. So basic shape of my gauntlet is done. I just want to go over the edges with some craft foam, which I have some left over. And I have my little outline that's going to go on my bracer. Okay, so my bracer is finished. All I have to do is cut my sleeves. Now, they're a little bit loose, so I'm actually going to glue up some of this excess so that it's not too bulky underneath. Okay, so my sleeves are done, my gauntlet is done, and my gloves are finished. So now it is time to paint them, and I'm going to be using this brown and this blue, which are $4 each. Ooh, it's pretty. I'm never dyeing fabric again. I don't want to get my hands all dirty, but I really want to get paint in these little cracks here, so I'm going to spray paint my hand while this glove is on. These came out looking great. All I have to do to finish these off is put some little black tape on one of my sleeves. Okay, those are done. Moving on to our belt portion for Link's chest. I have picked out a couple different belts that I got for $2 each. I just got a bunch of ones that might have the right buckle. We can always change the color by spray painting it. That'll be my main shoulder belt, and then we'll attach this one. And then we're gonna put a little shoulder pad up here out of foam. And then we'll slip the belt right through. Okay, I think that works. For the waist, I'd like to use the thickest one possible, which is this one. It's black and silver, but we can change the buckle color and we can change the belt color. Wait a minute, it's reversible! Look at that! This belt is a little bit too long for me, so I'm gonna use Dustin's hole puncher. Thank you, Dustin. And I'm gonna punch myself a new hole. And we're gonna use our muscles that we worked so hard for. There we go. I did it. So now all we have to do is paint them. My belts are all dry and my shoulder piece looks great, but I'm still kind of missing something for my bag. That's done, so now we get to fashion these belts together. I'm gonna glue it. That was easier than I thought it would be. Okay, so it's day 2 on my Link build and everything's dry, everything's looking great. I am missing something though. I am missing my Link boots. They were $7, and then underneath I'm gonna have these lovely white tights, which were $2. I don't think I'm gonna stop there. I think I'm gonna go ahead and build myself a shield and a sword. I think I'm gonna use some cardboard for this. Mr. Cardboard Man, can I get some cardboard?
Somebody called for the cardboard man.
There he is.
I got a big piece for you.
That is the biggest piece of cardboard I've ever seen.
This is what I was thinking. Just kind of like draw the shape, and then you can cut it with the box cutter.
Right?
And build on top of it from there.
Okay.
Since it has some of those like thicker details, I think it might be really cool to use kind of like 3/4 inch EVA foam. This is the same as the craft foam that we always buy, but this was $8, and these are made for garage floors. It's like a mat that you stand on. This is a 4-pack, and this stuff is awesome.
These are great.
Exactly the same foam. You can basically just draw out your shapes. All right, don't cut yourself.
I'm gonna use my shield as a stencil to cut out all of the foam pieces that are gonna go on my edges. So I've made my side pieces out of foam, and now I'm gonna be doing some inserts. I'm gonna label these as I go, just so that I remember exactly where they're supposed to go on my shield. To get some of the smaller details, I'm going to be using the spinner craft foam. My foam pieces are done, and now it's time to bend this cardboard into shield shape. Okay, it's ready for paint. Blue spray paint was $3. Silver spray paint was $4. Okay, so all of my silver foam is already dried. I think I'm going to go over some of it with black Sharpie just to give it some detail. So I'm just going to use some of this yellow masking tape to make my Triforce. I'm just going to make a layer of tape and cut it out. Alright, so my Triforce is finished, and now it's time to glue all of my silver pieces on the shield. Okay, so all of my foam is on, and now I'm going to do my red detailing in here with some tape. Okay, my shield is done. I'm going to add some handles to it. And then we'll dirty up the front a little bit. Okay, my shield is all finished, so it's time to start working on my sword, which I have right here. This was $3, and I'm going to change everything about it to look more like the Master Sword.
Yes.
I'm keeping it. So I'm going to make the cardboard blade before I put on the rest of the hilt, so that when I put the hilt on, it'll cover my seams with the blade. Come together. So I think my sword is all finished, so I'm gonna go ahead and paint it. Okay, so that is my finished sword, and I think that is it for this costume, so I guess it is time to go try it all on. Alright, I think I look great, so I'm gonna go show Dustin.
Okay, I'm ready to see the new improved sexy Link. Come on out, Link. Yeah,
Hello.
Awesome. How much did you end up spending on the outfit?
On the whole thing, probably about $70, but for the sword and the shield, about $7.
All right.
Pretty cheap for these two things.
And the chainmail, which we spent so much time on.
So much time.
Does it feel very heavy? Because that was like 5 pounds of metal rings.
It doesn't feel heavy, it just feels stiff.
I noticed you've got your ears too.
I do. I have these cute little elf ears to really complete my look because Link is an elf. I already had these.
Okay, watch where you're pointing at there.
I'm just making a point.
Okay, yeah.
I already had these ears on hand, so they didn't really cost too much for this one.
They're left over.
But if you did want to get some, they are about $30 online.
How about that sword? Let's see. It's sharp. Movie magic. All right, well, thanks again for joining us, Tali. It's
Thank
awesome
you for having
you
me.
here. Let us know in the comments what other costumes you want to see us make, and be sure and watch the other episodes, and subscribe to Cinefix for more episodes of all kinds of cool stuff.
Time for my adventure. Bye, guys.
I don't have a sword or shield, so I'll just stay here.